Hey, man.
What's up?
How was your weekend?
It was good. I got to play golf. Busy.
I know. I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah. Busy though. Always.
Is there some human trafficking going on? You look like you're in a closet.
Well, I might be in my wife's makeup closet for this one, because she's getting her hair cut. So.
Oh, well, it's probably better than being in the doghouse.
Oh yeah.
I'd much rather be in the makeup room than the doghouse.
Well, absolutely.
So how'd the golf go?
Couldn't putt. The green. We played at Buckeye, and the greens were fast, which was surprising.
Really?
For this time of year, and then I hit the ball
Buckeye's
great.
green to Ohio, right?
Yeah.
I don't have my hearing aids in today, so I don't know. Hopefully, I come off loud enough.
Oh, you're fine. Am I sounding all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, oh yeah, I hear you great. But yeah, it was just could not putt. I bet I 3-putted 7 or 8 holes. And that's just not ain't gonna score like that.
No.
Hit the ball great though. So I was happy about that.
Well, it seems like when you go that long without, you're not going to come back and just have your total game back.
Oh yeah, and the short game is always something that's not there the first couple rounds of the year because you just don't have that. As you play throughout the summer, you build up touch.
Yeah.
And then it's all gone by the time next season rolls around.
Well, I want to live here. When I'm ahead just to play 1 or 2 rounds of golf a year, because after I get much more than that, all my bad habits start coming back. It seems like I can keep in check for 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And then I start trying to fix stuff, and then it just goes all bad.
Yeah. I did get a birdie, so that was good.
Hey.
Yeah.
I've only had 2 birdies in my whole life, so
yeah, I got the birdie out of the way, so that's good.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's a way to start the spring right there.
And actually, I made it. Said I couldn't putt. I made a 13-foot putt, but because at that point I'd stop giving a shit. I'm just stepping up there. Yeah.
My problem is the beer consumption. I'm good. Yeah. I suck the first 3 holes because I'm really tight. I don't play a lot of 18 holes. And then 3 through 7, I'll loosen up and do pretty good. And then normal me, if I'm with my usual group of friends, 7, 8, 9 usually gets a little rough.
Yeah.
But all right, enough about us. You ready to kick this thing off?
Whenever you are.
All right, hit it.
Welcome to Tom Fuller and Smitty talking sports with balls. If your sports has got balls, we're going to cover it. How you doing, Smitty?
Good, man. So big news over the weekend. The spring game kind of got overshadowed by Brian Hartline ATV crash.
Yeah, that's say there might have been some adult beverages involved in that. I don't know, but it sounds like he's all right. So that's the main thing.
I don't know who broke the story, but it sounds like Delaware police are reporting, from what I'm hearing, 97.1 The Fan, that he did tell officers upon arrival that he'd been drinking.
Oh, so I figured. It really
It's like what Tressel says, nothing good happens after 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. As soon as I see the time, it's 1:20 in the morning, I'm like, yeah, there's beer involved in that.
Now, I didn't read all the details. Was he out on the road or was it around his property? Or?
Yeah, I think it was on his property.
Oh, so see, it should be a no big deal then.
No, I mean, it's not DUI. It doesn't sound like he's charged with anything.
Yeah, he was honest and up front that he'd been drinking.
Yeah, I'm sure Ryan Day's still not happy about it.
No, he'll probably get a little talking to, but I don't think it'll. Yeah. I don't think it'll do anything.
Yeah. I'm thinking in my head, is he out celebrating, having a good time with his buddies?
Yeah.
Over play calling in the spring game, or is he frustrated out drinking with his buddies over the play calling in the spring game.
Probably blown off steam.
I would think so. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Blowing off steam for that. But spring game, I mean, it was all right. McCord kind of had his moments. I love that throw to Carnell Tate. But the thing I can't stop thinking about is the Archie Griffin touchdown. That was cool as hell. So that overshadowed everything for me, huh?
Is Ohio State the best to do it? The spring games.
Oh yeah, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Because it feels like to me like it's part scrimmage, but then it's part circus too.
Yeah, it's spectacle. They got a bunch of recruits there. Yeah, you can't really garner too much information from the spring game, to be honest.
No,
but it's just.
Here's the information you can garner. How many people fit into Paul Brown Stadium? Like 46,000.
I know it's actually 50-some thousand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the fact that Ohio State spring game has 70-some thousand.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, it's they do it right. They know what the hell they're doing. That's for sure. Ohio State marketing top notch. I mean, they always have their hype videos. They're always better than anybody's. So, I mean, the spring game, they've turned it into a spectacle, and I like it. And, it's just fun. It's that rite of passage into the football season. And they get to see that legend, Archie. You can see Archie Griffin do that. That was.
Here's awesome. Something to think about is that every program, Alabama's kind of on top for now, and they have been, and Georgia's kind of getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But Ohio State, since Archie Griffin, I always want to call him Griffith. It's Griffin, right? Archie Griffin?
Griffin.
Yeah. Since his two Heismans in 75?
Yeah, 74, 75.
Yeah.
73, 74, 75. He's freshman 73.
What's our worst record since then at Ohio State?
Oh gosh, there was a 4-6 in 1988, I think, or 87 or 88. It was a year. It was last time Indiana beat us. We were 4-6. It was
that Earl Bruce?
No, Bruce got fired in 86, or 86 or 87. He got fired before the Michigan game, and then Cooper came in.
Yeah.
Because
the point being, if you look back, that's 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Archie did that, and there's not been a program more consistent in college football than Ohio State.
Nope,
since
not even close.
50 years.
Yeah,
I mean, you even look at Alabama; they went through a
real dark time. Alabama did.
Yeah.
After Gene Stallings left, it went bad there for a while.
But I think it's safe to say Ohio State's been the most consistent program over the last 50 years. And I think it's really nice that they let Archie have that moment.
Yeah. And I challenge anybody to say there's been a more consistent program over the last 50 years. Anybody.
Well, I think the demographics show it.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't there a statistic that came out like a couple of years ago that Ohio State has been in the AP top 25?
Yeah, the most days.
Consistently the highest ranked football team over maybe 20 years or something. This is where we need our Google fact checker.
Yeah, I know.
Person.
But no, I mean it's been unbelievable. We're spoiled as fans.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
And I fall victim to it a lot too, as the season rolls on. But perspective, yeah, we're spoiled.
Yeah. Are we too spoiled? Have we just set the bar too high?
Well, I think it's a good problem.
We'll be rolling people, and the minute Ryan Day loses a game, you go on Twitter, people are ready to fire him.
Well, you lose 2 in a row to Michigan.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
A lot of people have bad blood towards towards that, and a lot of people have
yeah.
theories that he's the next Cooper.
Yeah, see, I don't see that. I don't see him being the next Cooper. I just think he needs to let it fly a little more, and I think he gets too uptight in those Michigan games. But back to the Cooper point now, if he loses again this year, then it don't matter if he's John Cooper or not, because they're never going to let that happen again. So if someone loses 3-0, he's gone. If he loses to Michigan, I'm telling you, he's gone.
I got 2 points off of that. I disagree, for one, because they're getting ready to go to a 12-team playoff.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
And you look around, who are you going to replace him with? Who's better than Ryan Day that you're going to get?
I don't know, but they can get anybody they want.
Well, yeah.
So
they can.
I'm just saying the seat
the
will
one
be
they
hot.
would probably go after just went to Wisconsin, which is a conversation I wanted to have.
Yes. Mr. Fickle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised by that move by him.
I'm not. Hey, Wisconsin's a step up.
I mean, he made the college football playoffs at Cincinnati, though.
Yeah, but he was never going to win the college football playoff at Cincinnati. I don't think. And going to the Big 12 is not looking as big a move. The Big 12 is a Power 5 conference, I guess, still, but they're losing Oklahoma and Texas. So
yeah, that almost puts them with Conference USA. That's almost like a
it's a
lateral promotion.
Yeah, exactly. So TCU's there, I guess, and Oklahoma State, but it's not. So those two are probably better than anybody would be in the American Conference. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much.
It seems like those teams are good against each other, even TCU, and they had to pull off a lot of miracles to get to where they got last year.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't play Georgia as well as we did.
No. Oh, and the national title
game. We probably want to make the argument, well, we were the second best team in the country, which gets you nothing.
Yeah.
And then Michigan would be like, no, we beat you guys. We're the second best team in the country.
Well, you got beat by TCU. So see, it's
I'm like,
it would be an echo chamber.
It is.
But yeah,
and it's I think for the first loser anyway.
Mm-hmm. I think Fickle will have more resources at Wisconsin. It's the Big Ten. I think it's a natural step. I mean, UC is a great story and all that, but they're a trampoline, they're a springboard job, or a job where you go
for Fickle or
to die like Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah. Do you consider Fickle a prodigy of Tressel?
I do. I really do. I think he's a Tressel protege for sure. They're both kind of conservative. Fickle's not nearly as good at time management as Tressel, though. Fickle has had some
name me one person better at time management than Tressel.
No, nobody really. But Fickle's made some. I mean, I'm not even in the same spectrum. I mean, he's made some boneheaded that his clock management cost him the Georgia game.
Yeah,
a few years back. That was bonehead.
What did he do exactly that you would have done differently?
Well, I would have called a timeout sooner. First off.
Well, give me the situation. Refresh my memory.
No, wait a minute. I've got it wrong. He called a timeout. Georgia was going to have he didn't run the clock down enough. Georgia was going to have 26 seconds if he would have worked the clock right to go down and score. And they needed a field goal. So you need as little time as possible because, college football, clock stops when the chains move.
Yeah.
So
he left him with too much time.
He left him with too much time, and it was something that could have been avoided.
Now, is that one of those instances where they're on the goal line ready to punch it in, and he should have waited to score?
He should have just kneeled. He should have kneeled out instead of calling that timeout and then ran the clock down and punted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Tressel would have been punting.
Oh, yeah. The punt was fine. Dressel would have given the ball with the minimum amount of time left.
Yeah.
Especially when all I had to do is kick a field goal.
Speaking of Tressel and the Silver Bullets, what is the lapse with this defense that we can't? I mean, Dick Tressel ran an efficient defense for 15 years or something.
Yeah. Well, Tressel, they just had a coaches clinic, and they had Cooper, Tressel, Ryan Day, and Urban Meyer on the same stage. Tressel talked about, they talked to Tressel about the defense. Tressel said he did not have any involvement whatsoever with anything to do with the defense. He said he didn't even know what their meeting times were. So he found good people and let them do their job.
Yeah, they empower.
Not all this, co that bullshit.
Do you think Ryan Day's trying to get his hands in it?
I think he's until Knowles. I'm giving Knowles another shot this year, but I think before that he put bad people in the wrong positions.
Yeah.
I think that's what Ryan Day did. I think Ryan Day failed to pick the right coordinators. And you can't really argue that.
No, I mean, the results.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to say we're the SEC of the North, but we really became the Big 12 of the East.
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. So I'm hoping Knowles ends up being a home run, because can't judge, like we said last week, can't judge everything on that season, because there's a lot of bad habits to get rid of in a short amount of time. So.
And you're not dealing with your guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly.
Fit your scheme. You're trying to put square pegs in round holes. And I mean, you got to move Steel Chambers over to linebacker.
Yeah. Which worked out. I like Steel.
Oh, I do too. I think he's a heck of a player.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that conversation's like, though. Like, do you just go in the running back room and be like, look, we just brought in Trey Henderson, we got Mine Williams, like your fourth on the depth chart. Like, if you really want to see the field, you're going to have to go to the other side of the ball.
Yeah. So I guess shows his character.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Willing to do that.
The result is, if you don't see the field, you're not going to the NFL.
Yeah. Another factor is the luck at defensive end kind of ran out. I mean, we had Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young.
Yeah, for
Hubbard, sure. And, they were all game wreckers. That ain't always going to happen. That ain't always going to happen. And especially.
Yeah, they bailed out the backfield or the defensive backs a lot.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, just we haven't hit really solid on that. And even though we had had some highly talented defensive end recruits, they haven't came to fruition yet. So you're not always going to get
catching a lot of heat over. I know we went Fickle going back to Ohio State. Did you get to catch anything of Kyle McCord? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. He looked all right. I don't think we talked about I think he's the starter, but I don't think he's, he's not as safe as CJ Stroud as a starter. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I don't think Devin Brown's chances are over because he missed the spring game. But McCord, he went 18 to 34, 264 yards, I want to say. Had a great throw to Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate was a bright spot. He's very he looks very polished in his. Yeah, he looks very polished already. So I mean,
do you think he finds a starting spot on this, on the 11 on offense?
I don't think he'll be starting right away. No, I think he'll get some burn, especially he'll get some burn. He won't be a every snap player, but the early season when we get the blowouts going, then we'll get to see him get some burn too. I think it's going to be the most interesting early season in a long time.
I'm with you. Probably since Dwayne and Joe Burrow.
Yeah. If Burrow wouldn't have broke his hand.
Well, that's where Devin Brown's at. I mean, you're not
Yeah.
supposed to lose the job.
Yeah. But
And I
Devin
mean,
Brown's
it's not like Dwayne Haskins ended up being a hack.
No, Haskins was
Rest
good.
in Dwayne Haskins.
R.I.P. Yeah. No, he was damn good. Haskins was. That Michigan game, he was perfect in that Michigan game.
I remember what I went to, I think it was the Army game. JT Barrett was still a starter.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching those guys warm up, that quarterback room. And in warm-ups, they kind of run that fade route out to the pylon or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And number 7, I was like, man, that's a pretty ball. Like, who is that kid? It was Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, yeah, he could rip it.
But I always liked Burrow's mobility.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought he would give us more when the play breaks down. And you see, it's so hard to scheme, I think, for a quarterback who necessarily is not running. You're not running zone reads, but as soon as you give them space, it'd be like,
they're a definite threat. Oh, yeah.
And I think Joe Burrow, he's still efficient at it.
Oh, yeah. He's one of the best in the NFL at it, if not the best, by an extra time. Sometimes to his detriment. Some of them sacks are on Joe Burrow. But yeah, and he is very mobile. And when you combine that with the accuracy, and he is impossible to scheme for. You gotta hope he's just having an off day. That's all you can do.
Yeah. I heard an interesting take today. I think it was Bo Bishop on 97.1. That if Joe Burrow was in this quarterback race, he'd been hands down would have.
Oh,
because
it would have been.
He went like 21 or 28 or something.
Yeah,
I don't have.
He was the king. Joe Burrow was the king of the spring game. But he would have. This wouldn't even have been a race.
No. I think what really cost Joe Burrow was the fact that he was considered the noodle arm kid from Athens.
Yeah.
He wasn't a big recruit. He was developing, but I think once Urban Meyer labeled certain people,
that was it.
It was hard for him to see you outside of that box.
Yeah.
And the fact that Haskins came in and threw that crosser over the middle in the Michigan game, I believe it was a crosser over the middle.
Yeah, that was unbelievable. Because I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then
why are we throwing? It was his first play, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was a huge completion. And of course, then the coaching staff seen enough of this kid, they trusted to play that.
Yeah.
And they were also thinking Michigan knows we just put a new quarterback in, so they're not expecting us to pass.
Yeah.
But see, that goes back again to our conversation last week. Those are the plays that Urban Meyer would call and the shots and risk that he would take that Ryan won't take in the Michigan game.
Yeah. Yeah. Urban Meyer was balls out.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Day he tenses up.
And then you go to the national championship team. We got our third string quarterback in Cardell Jones.
Yeah.
And we basically trumped Wisconsin on deep ball.
Oh, yeah. Destroyed them. And we really, the score of the game was close. But really, after Alabama got up 21-6 on us, we destroyed Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Zeke just took over.
Yeah. And then we beat the hell out of Oregon and had 5 turnovers.
Yeah. Now we can't win with no turnovers.
Yeah.
It's baffling.
I think it's kind of the mindset. It's a different culture. Urban Meyer was taskmaster.
What do you mean?
Urban Meyer he didn't give a shit who you were until you proved something to him. And I think the team had a little more piss and vinegar in them than they do now.
Yeah. I'm with you on that.
It's just an attitude. And you got to have some people with chips on their shoulders and a little edge to them.
That's why I knew as soon as I heard the Panthers hired Urban Meyer, I'm like, that's never going to work. He's not. That don't.
Yeah.
Unless he completely restructures how he coaches the game, he's not going to make it in the NFL.
And he didn't.
Because he's one of those guys that would probably fight you over a game of jacks. Like, he's going to win no matter what. And if you beat him, he's probably going to want, well, let's go in the yard. I bet I can beat you at that. Like, he's going to take you out.
Or he'll head to the bar with a young tenderoni.
Yeah. Let's go behind the woodshed and see what you got now, guy.
But yeah, I just don't think sometimes this Ryan Day teams have that edge.
He doesn't. He seems a little too. No, don't get me wrong. I love Ryan Day.
I do too.
But Urban Meyer had pitbull mentality. Ryan Day has a quarterback mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And quarterbacks can tend to be a little soft.
Yeah, 100%. I love that analogy. That's perfect. That's what it is. That's what he was.
Yeah. So, moving on, Fickle's at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my personal take on it was he knew. I don't think he's turning down I don't think the dream of coming back to Ohio State is dead.
Oh, no.
But I think he looks at what Tressel, his mentor, did at Ohio State and says, I can do that at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's exactly where Fickle's at with it.
I agree 100%. Like I said,
I don't have to fight with recruits in state with Ohio State. I can go up here. I can pretty much put a halo around Wisconsin. Not that they're a big football powerhouse. I can go compete with Michigan. I can go compete with Michigan State for Michigan recruits.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go. I mean, you kind of look at that region. Iowa. I mean, if they end up doing anything up there, like they don't draw the biggest talent. I mean, they end up landing Lachey's kid at tight end who played right across the street. I live right by CHS High School. Lachey played Paint Valley, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what high school he went to, but that state playoff.
Gosh, you asked me too quick.
That's all right. We'll move past it. So we haven't had any real conversation about the landscape changing in the Big Ten. Like everything we know about college football, this is the last year of it in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
After this year, USC and UCLA is coming to the Big Ten, and we're going to a 12-game playoff. So this is the last year of anything we know about college football resembling college football.
Yeah, it's going to be completely different now. No, I agree with I like the expanding of the playoff. I really do.
I think 12's too many.
I think it should have been 8, probably.
Really?
Yeah, but 12 is more money. So that's what it's all about. But it'll still be interesting as hell. But I'm intrigued. Yeah, the Big Ten. It's just weird. UCLA and USC.
I don't think it's that weird.
I think it's weird. I just think logistically it is.
I think Rutgers is more weird.
Well, Rutgers is the New York market.
It's obviously the Big Ten has this coastal, let SEC keep their brand. They're just going to be the Southeast region, but we're going to be a national brand.
Yeah.
We're going to be Midwest, East Coast to West Coast, and you guys can have the South.
Yeah. I get that, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, that's just where it's going. I mean, I'm glad we're getting at least USC one quality program. UCLA's mediocre. They could be on their own.
But I think the Big Ten could prop up UCLA a little bit.
Oh, I do too. I do too. But they're going UCLA's. They're going to be middle of the pack in the Big Ten, just like just like they were in the Pac-12, which is fine because USC. That's huge matchups every week. So I mean, I'm excited about USC coming to the Big Ten overall. It's just weird logistically to me, but they got the money to pull it off. So
I just think it doesn't make any sense. This is where I go back to my point last week, is that football is going to become its own thing.
Yeah.
And with UCLA and USC coming, I don't think it makes any sense to play the Olympic sports in the Big Ten venue.
Yeah.
Especially when they have like beach volleyball and like sports the rest of the Big Ten don't even have.
Yeah. That is true.
But I
think there's separate entities for like the beach volleyball too. I think there's different conferences where they branch off like they do for the hockey.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if there's necessarily I haven't looked into it, but I'm just spitballing that there probably is. I don't know if there's necessarily like a Pac-12 for the beach volleyball.
Yeah.
So there'll be some sports that aren't even really going to be affiliated, I don't think.
It almost be like club sports.
Yeah.
But my thing is, I don't see the Big Ten. One, the Big Ten's in between commissioners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nobody's going to be expanding right now. But do you feel there's any way they just leave those two teams out there on an island?
No. I don't see that.
I don't see how there's any way we don't add Oregon with the Nike money.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't a push for that already. I'm surprised it's UCLA instead of Oregon. Honestly. Yeah, I would say I would like to see if you're going to keep adding, I would add Oregon and Utah.
I like the Utah take. Definitely I'm on board with Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
But I would go Oregon, Washington.
Maybe Washington. I don't know. I just like Utah better.
Well, I start looking at the.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to Utah. I used to.
Yeah, there's not much going on. Yeah.
There's not a lot of people.
Yeah, I have.
The majority of the people there aren't Utah fans. They're BYU fans because it's a Mormon state almost.
Yeah. That is
like
true.
Utah's almost the outlier. I think that's why they went to the Pac-12. Like, well, nobody even watches in their own state.
Mm-hmm. They got a damn good program though, but you're right. Monetarily, it wouldn't make sense.
No, but I don't know if Washington does either.
Let's see. I mean,
honestly, but then the other one you throw around, like Big Ten identity beyond like football, is academics. Yeah. So then UC Berkeley might be the go.
Yeah.
And they're trying to not pigtail. They're trying to daisy chain in with UCLA, basically trying to handcuff the Big Ten. Like, well, you can't take them if you don't take us.
Yeah. They would be a fit, but I would say either Cal or Washington would work. Honestly,
I know it's the Big Ten. How many after we add USC and UCLA? How many teams will we be at? 12? No, 14?
No, 16. We're at 14 now.
I think they'll end up at 20.
Yeah,
and go East and West, and have 10 teams in each. I think they'll add.
That's what will end up happening. That's what will end up happening eventually.
And the SEC's at what, 18?
I believe so. I believe 16 or 18. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, this is where we need our Googler.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them adding 2 more.
Yeah.
And then you will have the top 40 teams in college football, and I think everybody else will be lost in the sauce.
Yeah, it'd be gone.
Yeah, everybody else will be your NCAA football, and we're top tier college football, top 40 program. We are the minor league for the NFL, and you guys are the outliers.
Yep.
And we're not going to give you any of the money.
We're AAA, you're AA.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. I could see that happening for sure.
I think that's where it's going. I mean, I think if the trends stay consistent, the college football is going to be the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, that's what it's a collision course.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to end up with all the teams in those leagues. They're going to end up with all the revenue.
Yeah, they're both already starting to swoop in and deplete the Big 12 and the Pac-12.
Well, the ACC slit their own throat with that TV deal they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what are they secured up to like 2030 or something?
Yeah. It's going to be weird. We got to deal with the Alabama announcers. We got to listen to them during Ohio State games now.
Why is that?
Well, Ohio State's
because we're going to the CBS.
Big Ten's going to CBS.
Well, I mean, I don't think you get any larger haters than what we already had.
Yeah.
Like ESPN.
Oh, gosh. Can't stand. I don't even watch ESPN anymore.
And that's the other thing. Like, will ESPN even plug the Big Ten? But it's almost too big to ignore.
Yeah, they can't ignore it completely. Trust me, they would if they could.
Oh, 100% they would. Because their product is in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like us on here plugging another podcast that talks about the same thing.
It's ironic that the wokest sports network ever is in bed with the South. It's just ironic.
Yeah, that is pretty ironic.
Mm-hmm.
But it also tells you that wokeness also responds to greenbacks.
Yeah. Unless you're Bud Light.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless you're that. I've heard some conspiracy theories on that.
Oh, yeah.
They're actually trying to get their stock to drop so they can buy a bunch of it back and then rebrand.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I almost felt like you told me that, but somebody else must have.
No, I didn't say that one. No.
Okay. He was Mark May. He was the biggest Ohio State hater on the planet.
Oh, man. Mark May.
And I don't know how much of it he really hated Ohio State or just the fact that it became the hot take. It became like the Jim Rome of college football. Because I think the Ohio State fans riled up.
I think he is pissed because he was part of that blowout when
Pitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's bad blood from that 76-0 game.
I also think it comes from reading the comments.
Yeah.
Like you start getting online arguments with Ohio State fans, which I think north of here, we live in this weird region. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can probably tell from my dialect, I'm not from Columbus, Ohio. But I feel like the further north you get, the more snobbier Ohio State fans get.
Oh, absolutely.
The people in our region seem to be pretty down to earth and level-headed and kind of can see some things how they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get up into Columbus, Ohio, and you can win a game and go on Twitter, and there's still people wanting Ryan Day fired.
Oh, yeah. It's constant. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I think we're a little more level-headed down here. But I also think
I try to be, but sometimes I go a little ballistic myself.
I do too. But me and you used to play NCAA football 2014. I think we've even played together at one point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would never be Ohio State because that wasn't realistic for me, because I knew if they lost the game, I would reset it. Like I wouldn't allow it to happen.
Yeah.
So I'd pick something like the lowliest team, Louisiana Monroe Tech, or something, the hardest one to build up. But even then, you could build it up after 4 or 5 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad life that you play 4 or 5 seasons of that.
I did. There's nothing sad about that.
But then you get into this, like, where Ohio State fans are now, to where you win every single game and it's a blowout, and it almost becomes boring.
Yeah.
Then fans don't come back until you lose a game. Like, oh, Ohio State's gonna win. Ohio State's gonna win. Like,
yeah, it does. It gets kind of trying to think of the kind of bland after a while.
Yeah. Well, it just becomes the norm, I think.
Yeah.
Like House of Strauss was talking about the other day on his podcast, which is amazing if you've never listened to it. But he used to follow the Golden State Warriors, and he said he tried to be like abstract back and kind of watch the crowd. And he said you can never replicate 20,000 people with like this silent, nervous energy in one place.
Yeah.
Other than in a sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I imagine it happened like gladiator times. I imagine that's why football is popular in the United States.
It is.
And basketball. Because you're in a shared experience with so many people, and you all have this nervous energy, and it's almost contagious. Like, it goes out to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You can't describe it any better than that.
Yeah. So then if you got a team that's just dominant all the time, the nervous energy goes away.
Yeah.
And then you just end up with this unrealistic NCAA football expectations. Like, well, I'll go plug in, I'll wax this team for an hour, and then I'll go do something else. Like, you don't even have the expectation you're going to lose. So there's no nervous energy to it. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's a great point. And that's kind of how it is. I mean, like we're going back to before, we're freaking spoiled.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, 11-2 is a bad season.
Yeah. And see, I grew up in the Cooper era.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. And here's another point I want to make. My pet peeve of all pet peeves of sports fans, yeah, you can say Ohio State fans are ass. And you know who I'm going to talk about, my cousin. We're not going to mention him by name. But people in Ohio that are Michigan fans that have never even probably been to Michigan and have no ties to that program, John Cooper is responsible for 99.9% of it.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Like, John Cooper's probably gained Michigan more fans than any coach they've ever had.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
And you and I lived through it. There was a decade there. I'll give a little self-disclosure. There was a year, like my senior year of high school, was that 94. I like, if you can't beat them, join them. Like, I tried, like, Michigan fan. I'm like, I'm going to try this out. That was when Starter was popular. I got me a Michigan Starter hoodie. And it was more so because we wore a lot of different, like, starter gear or whatever. That was kind of a popular 90s hip-hop scene or whatnot.
Yeah.
But I think the Fab Five was out about then. It was just a popular brand.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it
was.
Tired of beating your ass for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
What year did Cooper get fired?
He got fired in 2000 because Tressel's first year was 2001.
Oh, okay.
And he got hired in 88. So, and another thing about the whole Cooper creating Michigan fans, Michigan created Cooper because they lost Arizona State in that Rose Bowl when Cooper was the head coach at Arizona State. And that's what enticed Ohio State to hire John Cooper, because they beat Michigan in the Rose Bowl.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It seems like I also remember like not a sound bite, but didn't Ohio State lose to Minnesota? So Mason almost thought he was the next guy. Like, it was like over with.
Yeah, he thought he was going to get it over Tressel. Yeah, he thought
Tressel.
Yeah,
because he beat Cooper. All right, I thought he was going to be the next guy over Cooper.
No. He was going to be the next guy over Tressel. That's when the coaching search began after Cooper got fired. A lot of people were saying Glenn Mason.
But I'm not going to take everything away from Cooper because Cooper was the first one to start branding nationally. And
yeah.
You look at some of the players that came through Cooper, and you're like, how did he not have a national title?
Yeah, the damn 98 team that actually beat Michigan and got upset by Michigan State.
Yeah, that was the team.
Yeah.
And then they beat Texas A&M, who was the number 2 team.
Yeah,
they just destroyed them.
Slaughtered them.
Like they didn't even have a close game all year, but Michigan State.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
and that's probably John Cooper long in the tooth saying, I'm not even worried about Michigan State. And I'm going to finally focus on Michigan because it wasn't even one that's like, oh, Michigan's just another game.
Yeah. Yeah, he never understood the rivalry. John Cooper didn't. He just happened to beat him in the Rose Bowl with Arizona State.
Yeah. I think that's why Ryan Day is bringing in James Laurinaitis and, of course, signing Brian Hartline and trying to get some Buckeyes back because I don't know if Ryan Day truly gets it.
He may not.
Urban Meyer did 100,000 million.
Oh, Urban Meyer got it. Yeah. Better than any coach in history at Ohio State because he never lost to Michigan.
Maybe his record's better, but I think Tressel had the best understanding of what the rivalry was.
Well, probably. Well, Woody Hayes.
Well, yeah.
But Woody Hayes created it.
Yeah.
He made it. He turned it in. Him and Bo turned it into more than. I mean, it was big.
The 10-year war, right?
Yep. So Woody and Bo brought it to where it is. I mean, it's top. They took it to the top.
Yeah.
And it's maintained since.
But that was when college football was very regional.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore. So now I think the Big Ten's having to dig into we're going to have to find some more rivalries. So that's where USC comes in.
Yeah.
But here's the other part that scares me is I think Ohio State, Michigan are going to get short shafted. And I've always said this because you can argue last year there was 4-2, number 4, number 2, or whatever, however you want to put them in the top 25. There's never going to be a season where they don't have to play each other in the regular season.
Yeah.
Which if you divide it East and West, USC is going to have years where they can dodge Michigan and Ohio State.
Yeah, cakewalk.
Yeah. And I actually that spurs the mind. Nick Saban's making this argument okay, we have this conference alignment, but then you're telling me that I always have to play Auburn, I always have to play Georgia, I always have to play Tennessee. That's not fair.
Exactly. He's right. And he's seldom wrong, but
True.
Greatest coach college football history. So
how did Michigan State ever let him go?
I don't know.
How does that happen to them?
Yeah, I don't know. Pretty dumb.
Somebody just didn't break out the checkbook. I mean, he went to LSU, right?
Yeah, I'm glad they let him go.
Well, me too. Because we talked earlier about Ohio State not having a wall. If Michigan State stays with Nick Saban, it's the same with Belichick and the Browns. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
Or Pete Carroll. Wasn't Pete Carroll coach for the Browns?
No, he was was coach for the Jets and then the Patriots.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and he was never. He never had a disaster season with either franchise, but you just couldn't get him over the top.
Yeah. All right, man. We had enough. I mean, I talk college football for days, but our audience is sick of it. Moving on to the NFL, we got your mock draft coming out next week. You're going to give us who the Bengals, you feel the Bengals should take with their top 3 picks.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to give us the top 32.
Yep. See how accurate I can be.
But the intriguing thing for me before the draft, and this could break any second, I haven't heard anything. What would be the value of Zeke going to the Bengals? I would love to see that. And I also want to go into a story. And I've looked for this on YouTube. I've never been able to find it. Maybe you saw it with me. I know you're not a Browns fan. The first time Dallas Cowboys came in, Zeke's rookie year, playing the Browns, his first run, you could hear the chants of Zeke.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, you never see another fan base root for a player from another team to where they're chanting the running back's name.
Excuse me.
And that's all Ohio State fans up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, it wouldn't be the same in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's not a completely 100% Ohio State area. They're kind of anti-Ohio State.
Yeah, they're in the they feel like their little brother to Ohio State, and then they have Kentucky basketball, then they got the
Yeah, so
and going into our last conversation, the Chris is the idiot segment, I said Memphis and Cleveland is about the same amount away. I Googled it. Cleveland's like 3.5 hours away. Memphis is like 7.5 hours away.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I'm a dumbass. But
driving on 71,
if you were close, is closer to us than Cleveland.
Driving on 70 for that long does feel like 6 hours.
It does. But anyway, back to the question. Man, I would love to see Zeke to the Bengals just as a fan, but I also feel as a Bengals fan, they have so many people to play or not play, pay. And he's on a second-year running back contract where I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any value on any second-year or second contract for a running back.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry, Zeke, like it seems like once you pay a running back, you never – it's like giving a Major League Baseball player a 10-year contract. Like you're never, by the end of it, you're going to be losing money. They're not going to give you the production.
Yeah. Yeah, the running backs have a short shelf life. And Zeke's got a lot of miles, a lot of tread on his tires.
Well, so does Joe Mixon.
Yeah. Oh, they need to cut Mixon, but I don't think they need to bring in Zeke.
I almost think they're the same player.
Yeah, Mixon's probably still a hair quicker, but yeah, I was gonna bring that point up. Except the one thing Zeke has that Zeke is amazing in pass protection,
which would do Joe a lot of good.
Zeke is probably still the best running back in the league at that.
Oh, that goes back to college.
And Joe Mixon is terrible at pass pro, awful. And if he don't get it, if he ain't got it now, he ain't gonna get it.
No.
So,
and I feel like, my mindset is always going to be a baseball mindset because that's my main sport. But I think that blocking's just an effort thing. Either you want to do it or you don't. Yeah.
It does come down to that. And I don't think Mixon wants to do it, obviously.
No. He's probably like, oh, this play isn't for me. Should have been my carry.
Yeah.
I can't go into the guy's mindset. Maybe there is something to it fundamentally. He just doesn't want to.
They need explosiveness for this scheme. They need explosiveness at running back, and you're not going to get that from Mixon or Zeke.
Here's my other question, though: could you get Zeke for what you're paying Mixon?
No.
You don't think so? What's Mixon's contract right now?
Like $10 million, something like that.
You think you can get Zeke for $10 million?
I don't think I'd want to spend $10 million on him.
I don't think I want to spend $10 million on either one of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why they need to, because the way the contract's structured, they can get out of the Mixon's contract. So
if I'm a GM,
they need to get out of Mixon's contract, and please don't sign Zeke.
If I'm a GM, I'm going to draft a running back every year, and I'm never going to sign one to a second deal.
No. Mm-mm. Not anymore.
No, never. I mean,
there's
what does the kid out of Michigan State? Sorry, I suck at names. You're going to figure this out as this podcast goes. The kid out of Michigan State went to Pittsburgh.
Oh, you mean Seattle, Kenneth Walker?
No, prior to that. Oh. The one that held out for a contract at Pittsburgh.
Oh, shoot.
See, we can't even remember his name now. He was the number one running back in the league.
Oh, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. He's gone.
I think those guys hold out for big contract. Running backs are usually one of the quickest to hold out.
Oh, yeah.
Because agents are probably like, look, bro, if you don't get your money now and you play this year, you're probably never getting it.
Yeah, they know. They know. Because you don't have, I mean, once in a generation guys like Barry Sanders who never got hit.
Yeah. Well, that
solid.
You'll never, I don't know if you'll ever see that guy again.
No.
But like Le'Veon Bell, he held out for big money
and
never earned it.
Todd Gurley.
Zeke Elliott. I love Zeke. He won us a national title pretty much on his own, but it's still that second contract. And the dynamic for these teams are quarterback and offensive line and wide receivers, and keep all them guys happy. And it's almost like you can plug and play about any running back you can find.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you have a good offensive line, there's about 1 million guys on the planet that can hit a hole and get you 4 yards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you got great offensive line play, that's the most important thing. Yeah. The 3 most important things on a football team is quarterback, offensive line, defensive line. That's my opinion. If you win the trenches,
I don't think there's enough huge difference makers to risk it. And I also think it's so analytic now. It's like, I call this play and expect 4 yards. I don't call this play expect you to go for a touchdown. A touchdown will be a bonus.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm wanting out of this play.
And
then a lot of times you'll even see it late in games. The team's on the 25 and the coach is doing clock management. He's calling a run play expecting you not to score.
Yeah. He don't want you to score.
Yeah. I mean, what we had was it the Super Bowl or what game was it where the guy kneeled? He got to the goal line and just.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's like, I called this play expecting you not to score. I just need I need you to get me closer and lay down.
Yeah. That's what he did. It was brilliant.
Yeah. A lot of people feel they would have lost if he wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
So
they still almost did, but that ticky-tack call at the end.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my second point. Well, maybe my 88th point. I don't know by this point in the show. Will there come a time where you'll never see a running back go in the first round?
Yeah. I think so. I think if it wasn't for, we probably would have seen it this year if it wasn't for Bijan Robinson. Honestly. Because he's the best player in the draft. Even though he's a running back, he's the best player in the draft. I mean, he ain't going to get number 1 overall, but he's the best NFL player in the draft right now. Bijan Robinson is. We probably would have seen it this year.
And here's my other point that we kind of discussed pre-game or kind of texted it, but it seems like NFL owners, and I've dealt with this because I've been commissioners of like real baseball leagues. It's like owners get these set, like unwritten man rules And it seems like there's almost this unwritten rule. Hey, there obviously was an unwritten rule. You don't pay anybody $230 million guaranteed contract. Like whatever Cleveland did, the owners aren't happy with that. And I think Lamar's paying the price for that.
Yep.
And I would be too. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm looking at that like, look, I didn't go. I don't have all the publicity as him. I didn't go.
I'm better than him.
Unsolicited sex with a bunch of massage therapists.
Yeah.
And my stats are probably better, but you don't want to give me Deshaun Watson money?
Yeah, exactly.
And Baltimore's like, well, the Browns are dumb for giving Deshaun Watson money.
But I don't matter.
Yeah. So
yeah, the
Browns kind of broke the precedence there, but the Baltimore, they don't make a whole lot of dumb decisions.
No. Yeah, Cleveland put some turds in the punch bowl.
They still are.
Yeah.
Have you heard this rumor? Let me run this by you. I just heard this like pulling into the driveway. The Browns want to renovate their stadium and are considering, the rumor is that they would play their games at Ohio Stadium.
Huh. That's brilliant.
Brilliant on their part, because they know Columbus is if you go to any sporting event, like Columbus is usually one of the largest viewerships of any city in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you go to the West, it gets pretty liberal. A lot of things are going on. People got bigger stuff to do, nicer weather.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the East, they're all about the East. Like, it's shut down if it's not Philly or New York or somebody in it. And Columbus seems to be in it no matter who's in it. Like, we just like sport.
Yeah. Just like our sports.
But I think
that'd
that
be
was
a great
an
idea.
interesting thing. If Cleveland did that.
It'd be nuts.
But
It'd be nuts.
The other thing, that's the Joe Burrow effect.
Yeah.
They always say Peyton Manning built whatever dome was in Indianapolis. Like, well, Peyton built it. Yeah.
Soil Stadium.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now Cincinnati's even talking about revamping their stadium. Like, well, that's a Joe Burrow effect. Like, they know they have a franchise quarterback for like 10 years. They got to figure out how to pay the guy.
Yeah.
And it's not like a family. They're not the Haslams. They're not the family that's a billionaire. Like, their income is the football team.
Yeah, it's a very unusual situation. Yeah, most of the time it's the owner's hobby. This is their whole business.
Which I think that brings me to my 89 and 89 point is that Mike Brown might be one of the most underrated like sports figures in football.
Yeah. He does it his way too. He don't go along with the flow. I don't strongly I still dislike Mike Brown. I just still do, just because I don't think he's running as much anymore.
Okay, I missaid that. Paul Brown, who I meant.
Yeah.
How many people started 2 NFL teams, won a
national championship,
and an NFL championship? Well, it wasn't NFL back then, but it was a league championship in Cleveland.
Yeah, Paul Brown, he was an innovator. He was an innovator for sure. He made one huge mistake in his career.
What was that?
Letting Bill Walsh go.
Oh, at Cincinnati?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a whole other topic, because I'm a huge Bill Walsh fan. I haven't read his book. It's on my bucket list of books.
Yeah.
And anybody that's that innovative and that successful, like, they have ideas that translate beyond sports.
Yeah, Bill Walsh
I think if Bill Walsh wanted to be a banker, he would have been good at being a banker.
He was a genius. The man was a genius. He just chose football. Yeah. letting Bill Walsh, that was franchise changing.
Yeah. Well, you got Sam Weish out of the deal. He took you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And they went to the Super Bowl before that. And lost to Bill Walsh twice in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I was surprised Sam Weish never surfaced again after the Bengals got rid of him. I think he went to Tampa and became like an O coordinator or something, but he
was Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
See, that's why you're the analytic guy, and I'm just the dumb guy to ask you questions.
But no, yeah, he was like 5-11 and 7-9 with Tampa Bay.
But that was when he was trying to take over like the worst franchise in the league. Then,
oh, right? Yeah. Plus, he didn't have Boomer.
He didn't have who?
He didn't have Boomer.
Oh, yeah.
Best play action quarterback of all time.
He might have been the best leader of all time.
Yeah, he's up there.
Because I remember he came back after he went to the Jets and came back. And they were like 0-8, and then they started Boomer again, and they went 8-8. And this is when he was old.
They were dominating people. It was amazing. That was fun. That was a fun season.
Yeah. That was the Cardiac Cats for sure.
That was a fun season. I remember that. That was that Corey Dillon's coming out party too.
Yeah.
He had that 246-yard game against Titans.
I don't have any backstory on this, and it just came to my brain, but Phil Simms went to Morehead State, which is probably about an hour from Cincinnati, if that.
I spent 2 years at Morehead State.
Like, how did Bengals not find him? Wasn't he a late draft pick too?
No, he was actually drafted in the second round, I believe.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That's Chris is an idiot again.
But, yeah. It's just so funny to think that Phil Simms went to Morehead State, though.
Yeah. Most people don't even know Morehead State has a football team. I don't even know if they still do have a football team.
They do.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. They're FCS.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of recap our last show. You gave us 5 names that you're going to put money on for the golf.
Mm-hmm.
Was the RBC Heritage?
Yeah.
Did you make any money? And you want to give us the 5 names you bet?
It was Spieth who ended up losing in the playoff.
Yeah.
Justin Thomas. He finished in the top 30.
You had Rahm in there, I thought.
Yeah, Rahm was in there too. He finished top 25. Kuchar finished in the top 30. And then Patrick Cantlay finished like 3rd. So Matt Fitzpatrick won. I didn't have him picked, so I didn't make any money this week. But I had a guy who lost in the playoff.
Yeah, you had Spieth.
Yeah. And I mean, he lost the dude. It was hole 18. It was the 3rd playoff hole. And Fitzpatrick hit first, and he hit it to a foot. So Spieth had to hole out to win.
You see that all the time in scrambles in golf, where it's just one shot.
Yeah.
And it's not that you put this unbelievable pressure on somebody, but then it's like, well, I can't play the shot I was going to play, because if I play that, I'm losing for sure.
Yeah.
So now I'm all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Go home.
That's quite a gear to shift.
Yeah. So you're in this mode of I'm playing my game, and then somebody pulls off this miraculous shot, and now you're out of your game. Now I got.
Oh yeah, you have to be. Yeah.
Or I'm going home in 2nd place.
And Jordan Spieth's a head case anyway.
Oh, is he?
Oh yeah, he's so fun to watch.
You want to elaborate on that?
You can just tell. With Jordan Spieth, you don't have to wonder if he hit a good shot or a bad shot. He's got his mannerisms are crazy.
Where's Spieth from?
Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That could explain a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of animated people from that.
Yeah. He's very fiery.
Last country.
He's got a personality, so it's it's easy to root for. He's a good guy. I mean, you just know what's going. You don't have to wonder what's going on when you watch him play. You know, is whether it's going good or bad right away.
He wears it on his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you listen to any Reds on the radio this weekend?
Yeah. I listened to the first inning Sunday.
The first inning?
9-0. I was taking my dad to his friend's
They won
house.
a game though, like 13-1 or 13-0 on.
Oh
Saturday.
yeah, they dominated. Yeah, they dominated. Will Myers had home runs and back-to-back at bats, but then the Phillies got him back the next day. That's for sure. I think Sessa needs to go back. I think Sessa needs to go back to the bullpen.
All right, we need to elaborate on this, but I'm due for a bathroom break. Can we pause this for a second?
Yeah.
I'm gonna, if I can figure out how to pause it. All right, man, we're back. You're kind of weirding me out. You got that light above your head. Almost looks like a halo.
I know.
Quite that special. Maybe you are.
It is. I mean, it's no light. There's no light in here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So here's my take on the Reds. It's almost the same as my take on the spring game. I turned the spring game on the radio. I had to mow my yard, as I'm sure a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
And doing laundry. By the time I turned on the spring game, all the backups are in. So I have no idea who they're talking about. None of the names I recognize.
Yeah.
I've been really sucking on my Reds fandom this year because Bally Sports sucks.
Yeah,
and there's no real way to watch the Reds, and I haven't turned on 700 WOW a lot.
Yeah.
I don't even know the players' name. So then I'm listening to the game like, I don't know if they're talking about the Phillies or the Reds. Like, I don't know these players.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one in this boat that's going to listen to this.
I don't know them all.
I know we have a shortstop that hits about my weight, which is like 147. He don't even hit his own.
Yeah. It's offensively, they haven't been bad, though. The pitching, as far as bullpen and into the rotation, is not very good. And I mean, I can't name everybody on the team. I can still name everybody. I can name everybody on the 1990 World Series team still. I can't name everybody on this team.
Oh, I could too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the funnest teams.
Oh, man.
I mean, I'm sure there's a generation that would say the 75 Big Red Machine was the funnest.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even know how many. But the 91 Reds team, wire to wire.
Yeah, 90.
That was so exciting to watch. And I was like a freshman. I was playing baseball then. That was like just a fun time in my life.
Yeah, I was 8 years old playing Little League. And every time they were on TV, I recorded them. So I got VHSs somewhere of every game, every televised game from the 1990 season.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was when I was in the baseball collecting era. And there were some studs on that team. I don't know if I could name every player.
I can't.
Got Stavo on third, Larkin at short.
Yep. Mariano Duncan at second. Bill Doran came and played second toward the end of the season. Then he got hurt, so it was Mariano Duncan again. Tom Benzinger and Hal Morris at first base. Joe Oliver and Jeff Reed catching. Billy Hatcher in left field. Eric Davis in center field. Paul O'Neill in right field. Bench, you had King Griffey Sr., Rolando Rooms, came up and down. Herm Winningham, Luis Quinones.
Okay, other than possibly King Griffey Jr. or Will Clark, was there a sweeter swing in baseball than what's the first baseman you just said? Hal Morris.
Hal Morris, yeah. That dude could hit.
But he was just fun to watch him swing the bat.
Yeah. He just flat out hit. He could just flat out rake.
Paul O'Neill, I was kind of I have like a family connection with him because my uncle worked with his mom,
Mm-hmm.
Columbus, and I knew he was an Ohio guy. so I was kind of a huge fan with him. I never got an autograph or anything, but I was kind of a huge fan of his just because like that connection. And he had a pretty sweet swing too. Like I seen him kind of like stretch out and just look like he was trying to foul a ball off and hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad looked at me. I was playing Little League then. My dad looked at me. He says, that just shows you don't have to swing as hard as you think. You just have to make square contact.
Yep,
and that
100%.
lesson stuck with me the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. And Paul O'Neill, I mean, once he got to the Yankees, his career took off because the Reds organization wanted him to be a pure power hitter.
Yeah, he was more of a spray hitter.
Yeah. They wanted him to be a pure power hitter. So that was
and I don't remember, was Paul O'Neill solid defensively or?
Oh, absolutely. Very solid defensively. So he was almost a 5-tool player.
And he's from Columbus.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Yes.
Well, Barry Larkin from Cincinnati.
So the other things I have down here. What do the Reds have to lose, man? You got Bauer pitching in Japan.
Yeah.
Why not just sign him?
They don't. I don't think
you're not saving your reputation at this point.
I know, but I
you
don't
want
think
to sign Cy Young with your club.
I know. I agree, but I don't think anybody's going to sign him.
You got Joe Mixon on the Bengals.
I know.
He just shot. What did he do? Shoot something down in his yard or whatever?
Well, it was his sister.
I'm not ever going to say. I know we use the pun. This is a show about, we talk sports with balls. We're men. We're over 40 or whatnot. I'm not going to condone anything Trevor Bauer did.
Yeah.
He's obviously a weird, different kind of cat.
Yeah.
But he didn't get prosecuted. And if you're the Reds, what else do you have going for you?
That's true. But I just don't. I don't think it's even the Reds. I don't even think it's in the Reds' hands. I think he's kind of, even though I think he's kind of being blackballed.
Well, that takes us back to the NFL owners thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the unwritten part.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, nobody's signing this guy.
Yeah.
It's probably never going to be found in an email.
Oh, no.
A group text with owners that will never get leaked. It's in that private.
Yep. Absolutely. I don't think anybody's going to sign Trevor Bauer.
But
I just don't see it.
Unless he played football and he was quarterback, then the Haslams would sign him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, how's what Trevor Bauer did any worse than what the Browns quarterback did?
It's not, but it's seems like it's a little more accepted in football.
Because it's a violent sport?
Yeah, that's the way, yeah.
I mean, football is very slow to blue ball very many people.
Yeah.
And the worst one they did, or blackballed, I guess blue ball is a whole different concept.
Yeah.
Was Ricky Williams.
Yeah, for smoking weed.
Yeah, and Josh Gordon.
Yeah,
that's
for
smoking, right?
Yeah, and that's bullshit.
I'm with you on that.
Pure bullshit. There's no reason they should not be playing right now because they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I think Ricky Williams will be playing right now.
Well,
Josh Gordon, I think, is playing in the XFL, but there's no reason he should have been suspended as many years as he was.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. It really
and
is.
You also can't tell me there aren't 90%. It's a violent sport.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me the amount of players that's probably on Oxycontin that are prescribed, but that's okay because it's prescribed. But then Josh Gordon's going to get popped because he smoked weed.
Yeah, which is a lot better, a lot safer than Oxycontin.
a lot less addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, do you agree with that statement though?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't think it's Bobby Carpenter, but he kind of alludes to the fact like, man, these NFL players are inhuman. Like they're just taking like painkillers left and right and like doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But then because this drug stigmatized from the war on drugs so bad, which it can be a painkiller, but it's not an Oxycontin.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close.
We'll have to get into our next show because I want to do a little research.
Yeah.
But the defensive end that played for the Eagles was talking about doing shrooms before the game.
Yeah.
Put everything down for him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's familiar.
I don't want to say a name. It'll be embarrassing. It'll be on Smitty's an idiot. I'll have to research.
Familiar.
But he's talking about how slower the game was because he was on a hallucinogen. Plus, with an hallucinogen like shrooms,
yeah,
like microdosing, not only my receptors are seeing things and my brain's having to take things in at a certain rate of speed.
Yeah.
So if you take a drug that you can go, not only are you accelerated, but now you can see things in a slower rate of speed than I can, and then you can maneuver in a faster way. You're trying to tell me that's a less advantage than smoking weed?
Yeah. I agree 100%. I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
One of the reasons I don't feel the Reds will sign Bauer, I don't think it's necessarily the smear. They're worried about the smear campaign or like the publicity backlash that would probably happen 100%. Somebody's going to take it eventually, I think.
I don't think it'll be this year.
No, I don't think it'll be this year. Yeah. I think it'll get 2 or 3 years. I mean, Kobe went through all this. You remember that? Kobe went through Roethlisberger went through all this.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you get it. These teams know what the media stream is. They know what's trending, what's not, and they're going to let it get out of the public's consciousness.
And then,
and then somebody will make a move on him. So how are you this year? Rules in baseball with the larger bases?
I don't like the larger bases.
Does it make any real advantage?
I guess it's a little easier to steal, is what they say.
I can kind of see where it might make things safer.
Yeah.
Because, in like Little League and coach pitch, they went to the dual base on first base.
But
I don't know if, what do they gain, 3 inches or something?
Yeah, that's their that's the reason. That's the reasoning behind it.
Is because it actually makes the base paths shorter.
Easier to steal, yeah.
So there's such a idiosyncrasy in the MLB because it seems like they want to sell you on the home run ball. They do everything to handicap small ball, but then they're going to make the bases bigger, which promotes small ball. That makes no fucking sense, man.
Nothing Rob Manfred does make sense. Nothing he does make sense. He's the worst commissioner. He makes me pine for Bud Selig. So you win, universe.
And here's where I am with MLB. I used to write for a magazine. The magazines they were popular. You and I got Sports Illustrated growing up. My grandma always bought a subscription for Sports Illustrated. That was my Christmas gift. Got that every year. My parents weren't smart enough to snag the swimsuit issue, so I got to see that too. But I remember I knew what day it came. I'd run to the mailbox to get it. So then it went all to social media where all of a sudden you don't have to wait on a story.
Yeah.
But also as a journalist, like I didn't have to, well, I remember writing for a magazine and you're not trying to think of the story that's popular today. You're trying to think of the story that's going to be popular when the magazine hits next month.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what all that's going to happen. So with like our platform, we can do, if something happens, I can text you and be like, hey, Tom, we need to hop on a podcast. Or we need to write this article. We need to get stuff out right now. When you're publishing a magazine, it don't work like that. Like I wrote an article about a coach, a volleyball coach at Ohio University Christian, and a profile story. By the time the article hit, the university had fired the coach, but it was already in print.
Geesh.
You know what I mean? Like that's just an example.
Man.
Like how fast things work.
That's crazy. That's nuts to think about.
It is. And then by the time you go to like, they want the social media aspect of it, you want everything interlinked and search engine optimization and all this stuff from BVM, which is the affiliate I wrote for, because they have an advertiser that's paying them for my story that wants it out there. Like, well, how am I going to promote a dead story?
Yeah.
Like by the time it hits, by the time I can share the link that goes to BVM Sports, she's not even the coach.
Yeah. So it just wouldn't make any sense.
So then you just make me look like an idiot. Like, well, hey, look at this coach. And you can't go in and revamp the whole article because they have print time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, media is moving in a whole different direction. But what I was getting at with magazines, with that, the reason Great Seal Sports was even somewhat popular, and I'm going to relate this back to baseball, is it became so old school, it became cool, almost like a record.
Yeah.
Like how people are going back to records now. Magazines became that. Like, man, I'll get away from my phone. I can actually hold a piece of colored paper and flip through these stories.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where baseball should have held on to their standard. It's like we're in such this fast-paced environment and they're not drawing a crowd. I think people would have got so fed up with that environment, like going to the baseball game would have been the escape.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Makes total sense. I can see that, and I agree with what you're saying.
Like it's so old school that it's new school.
Yeah, it would.
And I stole that quote from Shane Combs. I'll give him credit for it. Shane Combs, he does still write for Great Seal Sports, baseball coach Paint Valley. I'm not going to say I came up with that quote, but it's so old school, it's new school because the kids have never seen it. Like we all had magazines. We get a phone and like, fuck magazines. But now all these kids all have is phones, and then they get a magazine and they're like,
what's this?
Man, this. Like, oh wow, that's my picture, and it gets mailed to people's mailboxes. Like kids think it's cool.
100%. Yeah, and we're losing that for sure.
But I think Major League Baseball should have held on and just rode the wave. Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Because I think people will eventually come back to it.
I agree.
As it was in its purest form.
It would have, but they don't have the patience.
Now I feel like they're headed toward basketball. You ever watch that movie?
Yeah, I love that. That's a hilarious movie.
Where it's going to be so gimmicky, like, hey, if you can hit a ball, not just a home run, but in this particular basket, it's going to be worth 3 points.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. I'm telling you. It's
like it's going to become so gimmicky, it's going to become a joke.
Yeah, I mean, the whole world's just. I don't
even know how you keep stats. like, tell me if this is still the rule, because I'm ignorant to it right now. I'm a purist. I kind of checked out, but in extra innings, they still put a runner on second, right?
Yeah, I hate that.
So how does that affect?
Yeah, how do you score that?
Exactly. If I'm sitting there with a book, how do I explain? Because if you've ever kept book in baseball, it's almost like dialoguing chess.
Yeah.
Like you have to say how each piece and each player got here and there. And then if all of a sudden some imaginary player ends up on base and you have no way to explain how he got there.
Yeah.
And then if he scores, he gets the same credit for a run that the guy that stole second and third base.
Yeah.
And then got knocked in by a pop fly.
Yeah.
Got a run.
It's ridiculous. I know.
Is that fair to do?
No, it's not. That's gimmick. It's pure gimmick.
All right. I'm glad I'm not alone on that.
No, pure gimmick.
And here's my last point on baseball before we move off of it. Well, actually, I got 2 points. I'm up to like 1,098 points by now. But should we expect ERAs now that we're done with the shift to go through the roof? Was the shift why ERAs went back down?
I think so. I think it's a big factor.
I just know for me, I pitched D3. You got pitching charts, you have hitting charts, you know everybody's strengths and weaknesses. It's a huge advantage for me to know how to set a guy up if I'm only pitching one side of the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, if I got a right-handed hitter, well, you would never do that. Well, let's say we do that. Say I got a right-handed hitter.
Yeah.
But I throw hard. Say I throw 88, and I know he's going to be behind on it. I'm not going to throw a fastball. Why would I?
Yeah.
He's hit it to left field. He's going to be behind on
it.
So I'm going to throw all off-speed stuff.
Yeah.
And give him stuff that he'll only hit to the left side of the field. It gives me a huge advantage as a pitcher.
Yeah. The other shift is that's your hurting pitching bad. Hurting pitching bad. I think the pitch clock hurts the batters a little bit though.
Oh, I agree.
So that kind of evens it out a little bit.
But the thing that there's a lot of subtleties in baseball. I think that's what generation doesn't get it.
They don't.
Generation doesn't get it because they like action. There's a lot of action in baseball if you understand the game.
100% there is.
If you don't understand the game, then you're just waiting for somebody to hit the ball. When I watch baseball, I'm watching what's his pitcher strategy? What's his pickoff? How do you pitch this guy? You know, what are they looking for him to hit? So I think there's a lot of action in baseball if you understand the game.
There's so many factors.
Play it now, and they're trying to appease a fan that's never played it.
Yeah. Yep, and that's where it's at, and that's where it's headed. And I think it's a runaway train.
I think so too. I think it's probably like not quite off the tracks, but it's like leaning, going around the corner.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's a Norfolk Southern.
Take off that when it comes to like pitching. I forget what. Oh, you're talking about the pitch clock and the batters being at a disadvantage. But there's a subtlety in the game to where if there's a runner on base and you're a batter, you're trying to protect your teammate who's the runner.
Yeah.
So the longer you stay in the box,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people don't realize it, but pausing is a big deterrent for stealing bases.
Yeah.
As a pitcher, you're taught to pause
Mm-hmm.
because you're standing up straight, you're erect, you're comfortable. The guy out there trying to steal the base is squatted down, his legs starting to shake, getting tired. So the guy that's batting can step out and take the pitcher out of what he wants to do and protect his teammates. Be like, hey, go back and get your legs underneath of you. Like, I'm not going to let you pause that long. And you see a lot of timeouts for batters come when the pitcher's trying to pause too long.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to your point. Yeah, it takes a lot away from the batters, but it takes a lot away from holding runners. How are you supposed to hold a runner when he knows when you have to pitch by?
And you can only pick, and they limit the times you can throw over to now.
Like, how in the world?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many nuances in holding a runner. Like, I have no idea how you do that.
Yeah.
With a pitch clock. I have no clue.
Pretty messed up.
So I think ERAs are gonna skyrocket.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
I think they added too much at one time. I think they should have did away with. I don't like that they I don't like that they did away with the shift because I like the imagination of it.
Yeah.
I like people like Joe Madden that are innovative and all that.
Yep.
But I really think it's almost like being a defensive back in football, that there's pitchers are so handicapped that now you're taking them out of anything that they can do. You're basically asking them to pitch BP so we can be excited.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's getting late.
It's taken all of the nuance out of it.
It is. But I wanted to finish up on a positive note, and maybe not go into your realm, maybe not my realm. Maybe we have a great conversation about it. But you're a huge wrestling fan, and I'm not.
Yes.
I haven't watched wrestling since like the 2000 and probably 2000, the Rock and Sock Connection.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm
that's a great time.
If I haven't watched wrestling, as some people call it around here, they make a distinction between wrestling and wrestling because wrestling is fake. But they still watch it.
Yeah.
Tell me why I should turn on the channel and watch some wrestling.
It's escapism, man. Pure escapism, and let you get involved in a story. But it's a story with athletics. Because those guys, don't get me the outcomes are predetermined. It's fake.
Are they always? There's some documentaries and some outcomes supposed to be predetermined that weren't.
Yeah, that's happened before, but 99% of the time, the outcome is predetermined. And it's up to two guys in the ring to tell the story to get to that point. And that's what they tell a story with athletics. These guys are athletes. I mean, look at Brock Lesnar, for example.
Oh yeah,
a UFC heavyweight champion. He didn't play high school. When he left the WWE first, he tried out for the Minnesota Vikings. He didn't play high school football. He made it to the final cut.
Yeah. He just secures that.
Yeah. And then he goes into MMA and wins a championship. And probably would have had more time with the championship if he didn't have diverticulitis, which almost killed him, and he fought with it.
You can call it fake if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing fake about jumping off of like 15 feet on the concrete.
Oh, yeah. That stuff they do. And I think they do that too often nowadays.
Yeah. Like there's nothing. I've jumped out of airplanes.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing fake about an impact on the concrete.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, he didn't land the elbow. And I think one thing the UFC has shown us and I do a little bit of jujitsu. I'm very, very, very raw, like white belt. I'm not no Joe Rogan or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Probably just enough to get. I'm enough to like probably get myself out of a bar fight and get my ass kicked by somebody that really knows what they're doing in jujitsu. That's what my. So my point being, like, you can't.
Yeah, and these guys, I get what you're saying. I mean, you can't fake the physicality. It's physical.
No.
It's very physical. And another myth that people think about wrestling is that the mats are soft.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not. Dusty Rhodes' son, in his autobiography, he talked about taking a bump on a mat, just falling back. He said, if you want to know what that feels like, go out in your backyard during a drought and fall on your back for 10 minutes straight.
Oh, that airborne school was falling down for 2 straight weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And they teach you how to fall down, and it's way more gracious. They call it a parachute landing fall, PLF.
Mm-hmm.
Way more gracious than any of the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And my other point on that was, like, could you elaborate on, did you ever watch Heel?
Oh, and Stars? No, I never did get to watch that. I wanted to. I just never got around to watching it.
I was so disappointed when they didn't come out with a second season, because it was like a go behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Of like a small town wrestling. I really think you would have enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, I would. I wanted to watch it. I just never got around to it. I was very interested in watching it.
All right, man. Well, maybe I'll check out some wrestling.
Yeah, that's a good time.
Do wrestling fans get offended when I call it wrestling?
That don't bother me any.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't bother me.
Because I was thinking after our last show, I said something about being Appalachian. And sometimes we just got to own our own dialect and things.
Yeah.
My whole family ever growing up called it Appalachian. I didn't even know it was supposed to be called Appalachian until I was
I thought it was Appalachian too. I
like
still
my
say
family
Appalachian.
was like, oh, we're Appalachian.
I still say Appalachian State.
What is it?
I still say Appalachian State.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes we get too caught up in this woke society that we let people, especially us in our demographic, where we seem to be so offensive to everybody else that we dictate what everybody has, where we aren't allowed to say certain things or be.
Oh yeah.
Like this is probably the only place in the United States, Southern Ohio, where you can walk up to a group of girls, females, non-gender, or whatever, and say, "Hey guys," and nobody gets offended by it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like nobody even thinks twice about it. That's just the lingo here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But anyway, man, I have no idea what time it is. I thought this was a great show.
Had a great time.
All right, we didn't get to our Joey Votto talk. I hope to have that Wednesday.
Oh, we'll knock it out.
All right, bye, buddy.
Have a good one, brother.
All right, good night.
Night.